I never understood that every single album that I dropped, Jay dropped right on time. And it was like, damn, like to have in-house competition at that magnitude was crazy. Jay already the boss, but I always thought that, like, let me breathe.
I felt that Jay-Z, Beanie Sigel was the shit.
Yeah, he was fire.
And they would only let Beanie Sigel only sell so many records. This came from an executive. But Benny, you couldn't be bigger than Jay-Z on Jay-Z's label.
After everything I've done for you, I have to always have your back. Why wipe me out? After everything I've done for you, you gonna sit there with a life raft and watch me drown? After everything I did for you, you not gonna talk to me?
I want to say this to protect myself, that there's stories of Jay talking to underage girls. It was a girl from my block that was 16, 17 years old that Jay was talking to. If she was 17. So there's plenty of stories out there that they might flood the market of Jay talking to underage girls. I heard this kid that is claiming to be his son. His mother was 15 when she conceived him and had him at 16. And Jay refused to do a blood test or anything like that. And all of a sudden, when this has gotten real big and Tony Bugsby had taken the kid's case, the kid just got arrested for having a gun in his car, I think, like that. Did you hear something about that? That the kid got arrested for having a gun in his car, and when they go and watch the tape, somebody was planting a gun in the kid's car.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label, now you're back rapping again. Okay.
Welcome back to StarHush, where the tea is hot and the truth always comes out. Beanie Sigel just came through with some bombshell revelations, putting Jay-Z on blast for allegedly sabotaging him and other Rockefeller artists, all out of pure jealousy. And now, Jay is reportedly scrambling to shut him up. Let's be real, this is the last thing Jay needs right now, especially with that lawsuit from one of Diddy's accusers already hanging over his head. The timing couldn't be worse. But Beanie? He doesn't care. He finally aired out all the dirty secrets in a viral interview, exposing how Jay wasn't just a boss, he was actively blocking his own artists from succeeding whenever he saw them as a threat. And it's not just Beanie saying this. More and more people from the industry are coming forward, backing up these claims. Apparently, that whole Hova the God persona Jay portrays is just a front. Behind the scenes, insecurity runs deep. Now here's where it gets messy. Word on the street is that Jay has been sending warnings to Beanie, trying to shut him down. But Beanie, he's not backing down. He's been sitting on this truth for years, and now that it's finally out, he's ready to air it all. So let's get into it, because this drama is just getting started.
Thought that, like, let me breathe. But to maliciously plot to hold me back.
Beanie Sigel is finally breaking his silence on Dame Dash's claims. And let's just say, he's not holding back. Dame recently sat down on The Art of Dialogue and put Jay-Z on full blast, accusing him of sabotaging Beanie's career after the Rockefeller split and straight up ruining his life. And now, Beanie is here to set the record straight. According to Dame, he always saw Beanie as the future of Rockefeller, someone who could carry the label's legacy into the next era. He believed in Beanie's talent, but the problem? Beanie was loyal to Jay to a fault. He truly believed that Jay would have his back through it all. But little did he know, Jay had other plans. Instead of helping Beanie rise, Jay allegedly left him out in the cold. And not just that, Dame claims Jay worked behind the scenes to make sure Beanie never bounced back. He wasn't just done with Rockefeller, he wanted Beanie's career done.
Was getting ready, we thought he was gonna go to jail for a couple years, he was on trial. So I was trying to make 4 albums. I was more bothered when Beans chose to go with Jay, that one hurt. because I'd done a lot and prepared. I chose State Property over Rockware, and I wanted to just roll out with State Property. But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him, and he fucked his life up to me doing that. But I had him, you know what I mean? Like, that was my new Jay.
Beanie Sigel is finally speaking his truth, and he's not sugarcoating a thing. In a recent interview, he co-signed Dame Dash's claims about Jay-Z's shady moves and even admitted that he took Dame for granted back in the day. But now, he's seeing the bigger picture.
Dame actually came and got me when I got out of prison. And we was on a tour bus and they was interviewing me. And they asked me then and there on the bus. Now I'm just getting out of prison. Like, he at the jail picked me up. And they posed that question that I was, or made the statement that I was going to be with Dame Dash Music Group. And I said then that I didn't want to make that choice. I believe if we had those conversations, I believe I would have rolled with Dame. I'd have rocked with Dame. Yeah, if Dame set me down and he had a plan, regardless what the plan was, and mapped it out like this was going to do, the smartest decision at that time for me would have rolled with Dame, because Dame was more accessible than Jay was. Dame was in the office every day. You could talk to Dame. You know what I mean? Dame used to come and chill on the block in South Philly. You know what I mean? Dame pull up handbags at Mom Duke's spot. So yeah, I think if we would have sat and he would have showed me and explained to me, our business plan and what we was gonna do, that would have been an easy decision.
When it comes to Jay-Z's role in his downfall, Beanie made it clear there were definitely moves being made behind the scenes. He said it always felt like something was blocking him from leveling up, whether it was Jay conveniently dropping his albums around the same time as Beanie's, or limiting how many records Beanie could sell. The pattern was hard to ignore. And while Beanie took accountability for some of his own mistakes, like his asterisk legal troubles and personal choices, he made sure to emphasize that Jay's actions weren't accidental. According to Beanie, Jay was strategic with his power moves, and that included keeping him from reaching his full potential.
I think one man can destroy another man's life. It's ultimately in your decisions. I had a lot of issues. Like I said, legal issues at the time. And, my mind wasn't where I'm at now today. Like, I used to have questions like why every time my album dropped, Jay would drop right on top. He wouldn't let me breathe, or right before me. Like, I was always close. And I never understood that every single album that I dropped, Jay dropped right on top. I was like, damn, like, to have in-house competition at that magnitude was crazy. Jay already the boss, but I always thought that, like, let me breathe. But
For those who might not know, Beanie's story is one of the biggest what-ifs in hip-hop. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, Rockefeller was on top of the rap game, and Beanie was bringing that raw street energy that the label was missing. Jay-Z himself saw the potential and signed him in 1999, immediately pushing him into the spotlight. Beanie's debut album, The Truth, dropped in 2000 and was a massive success. It gave him instant respect in the rap world. But Beanie wasn't just another artist on the label. He was made to feel like family. Or at least, that's what Jay-Z wanted him to believe.
I came up to the studio and I stayed in the studio every day for I was driving back and forth from Philly, probably twice a week. I was bringing my bags, underclothes and all that stuff in the bag, in the truck, in the back of the Suburban. I stayed in the studio for 3 weeks straight. I mean, almost a month. I mean, a month straight I was in the studio. And that's why I covered the Dynasty album so much, because I was there. Everything Jay was doing, I mean, I was right there beside him and I was writing, you know what I'm saying?
When Beanie first signed with Rockefeller in '98, He really thought Jay-Z was the real deal, a true ride or die, someone who had his back no matter what. He believed Jay was more than just a label boss. He was family.
Rockefeller Records was the only thing that I've ever been a part of that I thought was honest.
It's dope. It's ill. Yeah.
Like, niggas really with me for what it was. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm from South Philly, so, you know what I mean? Niggas smile, hey, you know what I mean? Pray next to you, turn around, blow your head off. Like,
you said smile, shake your hand, pray next to you, and blow your head off.
Yeah, all that vicious. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
Kill you, wash your body. You know what I mean?
Pray.
Kill your son and fornicate with your daughter. Yeah, that's where I come from. That's the world that I lived in. So me being with Rockefeller, the La Familia, I held on to that. It's like I got something, and you know what I mean? And it's like, these got me. And they don't want from me, they just want me to do this. This music, they got me. And that's all I asked, you got me. That's where I came from. I never looked at me having a career. I never looked at the business. It was La Familia, La Familia, La Familia. We a family.
In the early 2000s, Beanie was one of the biggest stars at Rockefeller. But he wasn't just a rapper, he was a major part of the brand's identity. He launched State Property, both as a clothing line and a movie franchise, bringing even more credibility to the label. Beanie wasn't just making hits, he was building an empire. But by 2004, things started falling apart. The tension between Jay-Z and Dame Dash was getting out of control, and Beanie found himself caught in the crossfire. He had loyalty to both men, but when Jay took over Rockefeller under his Def Jam deal, it became painfully clear Beanie wasn't part of the plan anymore. And that's when the betrayal hit hard.
Weapons violations, attempted murder. They try and get a boy 20 to 40 years. They came to me with a deal. Their deal was 18 to 36 years. Of course, I turned it down. Thought this was America, people. Guilty until proven innocent, huh?
That same year, Beanie got caught up in a federal case. He was facing serious prison time, and he assumed that his Rockefeller family, especially Jay, would have his back. But instead of support, he got silence. Jay-Z, the man he once looked up to, was nowhere to be found.
So at that time, when, I'm going to court, and we about to be on tour. We on tour. So
a whole nother tour.
Yeah, we on a whole nother tour. So, I'm going for my bail hearing in the feds. And the judge asked Jay, everybody's saying all these good things and all that. You know what I mean? The character witnesses, Dame, and, everybody's saying, and even Jay said a whole lot of good things about me, and the judge was going to let me go. Monitor. And she said, would you be willing, and that's the part that people don't have, would you be willing to be responsible for his whereabouts, not be responsible for my actions, just his whereabouts? Would you be willing to do that? Provide us with all the information, saying that he's going to be here, there. And after all that good, and he said no. But it was like the way he said it, and he put his head down, he was like, no, I've never been crushed like that ever in my life. Cause I'm like, damn, this is my man, like and I looked at it like, all right, no. Nigga, what if I had to get the there? I'm in jail, I'm still tall, but what if I really needed to go? This was going to my mind.
Like, get out of jail, you say?
Bro, I had attempted murder and in the state and the federal gun charge and all this. 40 years is over. This is what I'm facing, 40 years.
Right.
What if in my mind, I'm thinking like, damn, what if I really needed to roll? Be on a run and go. Like, I'm from this my man and I love him. If he skipped that, I'm getting my man, I'm getting him out by any means necessary. So for me to look him in his eyes, and I'm shackled. Around the wrist, ankles and everything, and the man was like, oh. Like that was that yeah. It took everything in me not to like let him go. Like that took away a lot of I thought that we had. Like that's big bro.
Meanwhile, Dame Dash was right there, showing up every single day during Beanie's trial. He stood by him, publicly supported him, and proved his loyalty. But from Jay, not a single word. No calls, no visits, just straight up abandonment.
We drove up here at 5 in the morning, caught a flat. We caught a flat in Dame's van on the turnpike.
We gotta wait for the spare to come.
We're running a little late. And I gotta get suited up, booted up. And you know, he is our brother, so we will be there to support him. Because at the Rock, we are a family.
While Beanie was battling legal troubles, Jay-Z was focused on one thing: himself. He dropped the Black Album, announced his retirement, and then, surprise, surprise, changed his mind shortly after. By 2005, Rockefeller wasn't the powerhouse it once was. Jay had taken over as president of Def Jam, while Dame Dash and Biggs moved on. But Beanie, he was left in limbo. That same year, Beanie released his third album, The Becoming, an incredible project, mostly recorded while he was fighting his case. But despite how solid the album was, it didn't get the push it deserved. Why? Because Jay-Z, now running Rockefeller, had already moved on. Beanie was no longer a priority. Over time, Beanie started realizing the truth. He wasn't just being ignored, he was being held back. In later interviews, he hinted that Jay was actively blocking him from exploring other opportunities. He wanted to branch out, but Jay kept him tied to Rockefeller while refusing to actually invest in his career. It was like being stuck in a contract with no way out.
In the house for house arrest, and I got the Young Guns calling my phone because Jay-Z's only paying them $1,200 and $50 or whatever it is, $1,200 a show, and they had to split it at the end of the day, like shows where we went on. His was supposed to be promos, but checks that he was making, but it was just that's us paying dues. It was a good look. But all the glitz and glamours wasn't like really what people seen like.
Fast forward to 2009, and Beanie had enough. He finally let it all out, dropping "What You Talking About?", a direct diss track aimed at Jay-Z, and Beanie did not hold back. He called Jay out for being disloyal, selfish, and fake. He accused him of using him for street credibility, only to throw him away once he was no longer useful.
The question is, did Jay really call up them people? Just need to know to add them to the infested extermination list.
Listen, before I even got there to the building, you gotta understand this. It's all documented. This year's Powerhouse, Jay came last year, in the Philadelphia Daily News, the day after the Powerhouse, it had an article. And I didn't even go to the Powerhouse last year. It had an article in it. Inside sources say Jay-Z beefs up security and threat that retaliation from Beanie Sigel for dropping him from the label.
This was in the newspaper.
It's in the paper. It's public record. Go, it's $20. You can search it and find it. It's public record. That was last year. So when I'm reading this, like, dang, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Inside sources say.
Right.
Where that come from? I ain't never seen a Powerhouse where they got boot cops walking around with canines and go on the internet, Google it. Bernard Hopkins was there. I didn't even know Bernard was there.
Right.
Go to allhiphop.com. He confirms it.
So there you are, just like the song says.
Yeah, because what happened was, I stood right in it, and because they made suites. When I came in the building, and people was going to the back and all that, where the dressing rooms was at, We was standing in the back, me and my peoples or whatever. We come out with 5 bodyguards. What's up, C? No, what's going on? Man, what's up? What you doing? Who back there, Jay? Come on, let's go back there. And you keep on moving the conversation. You don't want to go back there. Your bodyguard's there, and I don't got no, you know what I mean, the pass. He was like, man, you need to come holler at the big hump. Man, dude, don't with me. I ain't going back there. That's what I told him. Big homie, don't with me.
But how did Jay-Z react? Like he always does, by dismissing it. He downplayed the entire situation, blaming everything on Beanie and claiming that Beanie was just refusing to take responsibility for his own mistakes.
Beanie Sigel is complaining a lot these days.
Well, he has a lot to complain about.
I know.
Not me.
Well, actually, this morning I just got a brand new interview. It's half an hour long, and he's talking basically about you, about the company, about basically how you didn't push him as much as, let's say, 50 Cent pushed some of his boys. How do you feel about that?
Well, Beanie Sigel at the time, and you can look it up if you like, but just to be honest, was driving 2 Bentleys. I don't know how. It's impossible to drive 2 cars at one time. With his mama in the sticks and selling 800,000 records. I don't know what more can you do for somebody, you know, at that point. What people choose to do when they attain that type of success, you know, at some point you have to look in the mirror and look at yourself. You know, Beanie Sigel had a record deal, a record label, and a clothing line. I mean, it never went platinum, ever. I don't know, in the history of rap, has anyone done so much with so little? So I don't even know what more can you do for a person at that point. A record label, a record deal, that's known. A record label and a clothing line. So that's not pushing the person. I mean,
But Beanie Sigel's story, it's far from the only one. Over the years, plenty of former Rockefeller artists and industry insiders have spoken out about feeling played and betrayed by Jay-Z. And it's not just random names, it's the biggest names in hip-hop. We've heard similar claims from Dame Dash, DMX, Kanye West, and more, each one sharing their own version of how Jay switched up on them the moment it benefited him. Remember when DMX revealed that Jay-Z sabotaged his 6th album? According to X, Jay-Z came out of retirement, but was so insecure about his position that he made sure to clear out any competition first. And what better way to do that than to block one of the greatest rappers of all time from getting his shine?
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label, now you're back rapping again. Okay.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. One of the biggest industry rumors floating around for years, Jay-Z and Laya Cohen allegedly helped sabotage a major plan that could have changed the entire music industry. The plan? Irv Gotti and Suge Knight were working on creating an all-black owned music distribution company. That would have been huge. Suge had a vision. He wanted to bring artists together under one umbrella, and he even wanted to unionize them. The idea? Record labels would cover upfront costs for artist union dues, which would then be added to their recording budgets. Once an album started selling, artists would pay it back just like in advance. This would have given artists something unheard of: real financial security. The goal was to provide healthcare, retirement plans, and actual protection for artists, something labels never cared about. A total game changer. In 2002, Suge even took the stage at the West Coast Hip Hop Summit and called out major record labels for keeping artists trapped by controlling their masters. He broke it down plain and simple. Most artists can't afford to buy back their masters, so they stay stuck in the system, completely dependent on labels. And the ones at the top, they do everything in their power to keep it that way.
It's how many people want to have a union? How many people want to get together and say, okay, we're going to network. You got a deal at Universal and your points is too low. You got a deal at Universal and they got 100% of your publishing. You got a deal at Sony and you don't own your masters, but it's your artist. Now, I'm going to tell you one other thing before you guys go. If you really want to know what's going on, it's real plain and simple. A lot of record companies tell you that at the end of the day, you have the right to buy your master.
And while most industry moguls supported this game-changing plan, there were two very powerful figures who allegedly weren't on board. And let's be real, you can probably guess exactly who they are. One is currently sitting in jail, waiting for trial on some serious charges. And the other, he's doing everything in his power to avoid a lawsuit that could put him in the same situation. In fact, whispers in the industry say that both Jay-Z and Diddy allegedly used their deep connections with the feds and other high-ranking power players to sabotage the plan for an all-black-owned music distribution company. Some even claim they went as far as tipping off the authorities to make sure it never happened. Now, when it comes to Diddy, his rumored connections to federal agencies go way back, all the way to his late father, Melvin Combs, who worked for the infamous Harlem kingpin Frank Lucas. As for Jay-Z, his alleged government ties reportedly run through his mentor, Lyor Cohen, and his close associate, Roc Nation president Desiree Perez. And if you don't know, Desiree Perez has long been rumored to have been a federal informant in the past.
Jaguar kind of alluded to Jay-Z may be next. What is your thoughts when you hear they done took down Puff, they done took down all these other powerful black people, Jay-Z's like the lone...
Jay is them people. If you do the history of most of the people that got in trouble in the industry, big trouble, who they went to for help? When Lil Wayne was in trouble, who did he go to? When Meek Mills was in trouble, who did he go to? Meek Mills said it himself. Desiree helped me. So how could he be up next? You know what I'm saying? He is them people. I don't think they coming after him at all. I don't think they got, like I said, I think he is them. He has a relationship with them. You talking about a woman that had a relationship with the feds for 20-something years. So I don't know.
But the million-dollar question is there any solid proof that Jay-Z and Diddy actually cooperated with the feds to stop the black-owned music empire from forming? Well, according to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, there's a mountain of paperwork sitting at Bad Boy's headquarters that supposedly shows Diddy played a major role in helping the feds. And Jay-Z, Gene Deal said he's heard from multiple industry insiders that Jay was also working with federal agents behind the scenes. That's some serious stuff.
When Puff, Kirk Burroughs, that's the other person that was with them, they go over to the feds with all this paperwork, you understand? And I mentioned this before, you understand? They not only talking about the extortion stuff, they talking about how they trying to be made to have this what you call this promotion, this distribution thing. Now other people coming out talking about it. They putting Jay-Z was a part of it. They telling their story, and it all is coincide what we said years ago, when we said on platforms before.
So Jay-Z, he told you?
That years ago, man. That years ago. What are you gonna do? They're gonna do whatever. Yo, listen to me. They're the reason why rap in New York went down the drain. They made sure that these young cats didn't come up with platforms and didn't come up with situations.
But let's not act like this is the first time Jay-Z's name has been tied to betrayal. Because the stories about Jay being deeply insecure and sabotaging those around him, they've got receipts. Jay even turned on Kanye West after claiming they were brothers for years. Kanye himself later hinted that Jay could send someone to take him out. And yet, that still didn't stop Ye from calling out both Jay-Z and Beyonce for being industry puppets.
They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
No, not you, man.
But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name. It's up.
So you feel like Jay was tossing you money as opposed to giving you the information? Because you know the infamous line on 444 is, you know, I gave Kanye 20 mil without thinking. He gave me 20 minutes on stage. You know, what was he thinking? Oh, I think it was 20 mil without blinking, whatever it was. He gave you $20 million.
That concept that you gave me, that he gave me the money, that's what frustrated me, because actually the money he got it from Live Nation. Roc Nation was managing me at the time. That's something normal that someone would give someone a touring deal. It was a touring deal. But the fact that it was worded that it came from him, I'm a very loyal, emotional, like, artist person, you know. That made me feel like I owed more than just the money itself, for the fact that it came from him. You know, it just put me under a bit more of a kind of controlled situation. It's like, and I'm only acting out of love. I don't need to be controlled. I just need to be inspired and informed. And I can be the best Ye in that way. But if I have the, I gave you this on it, and I don't have the full information of how it happened.
And if you want even more proof that Jay's jealousy runs deep, let's rewind to the Super Bowl halftime show drama. Jay reportedly tried to block 50 Cent from performing during Dr. Dre's set. All because he didn't want 50 getting that shine. And guess what? That plan failed. Because Eminem stood 10 toes down for 50 and told Jay he wouldn't perform unless 50 was included.
Jay-Z and them was putting it together. So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL had some issues with me. That you see what I'm saying? Like there's so much G Unit Records.
Right.
They forget that I'm in Dre's art.
50 Cent just put even more fuel on the fire, spilling some fresh tea in his interview on Cameron's Talk with Flea. According to 50, Jay is still making shady power moves, not just in the music industry, but in business too. And what's wild about it? Jay has nothing left to prove. He's already cemented himself as one of the biggest names in hip-hop and beyond, yet he's still working behind the scenes to block anyone he sees as competition.
And I knew what old boy was doing,
right,
with the Super Bowl, because he was doing like yeah, go ahead. He was doing some wild shit, because he was saying that to Eminem that the NFL had the issue with me, and I'm like, well, what's the issue? Why don't I have an issue when I'm becoming a partner in the actual team, but they had an issue with my performance? Right, makes no sense. You know what I mean?
I was going to get to that later, but since we're here now. And when he says "oh boy" for the audience, that knows,
Jay.
talking about Jay-Z. This was discussed before. Jay-Z told Dr. Dre, just for people who's not up on this, or Eminem, that he didn't want you to perform part of that Super Bowl that he had a couple years ago. Why do you think that is?
Well, I just think,
possibly.
Not even threat. You know, I think it's just when you take the competition from, like, our culture is competitive, man. It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. Like right now, he's not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5, and you still competing. It don't make sense. Like, what are we competing for? So what's the goal? Like this even, like, a lot of the competitive stuff, or we would call it beef, right? But it changed. That terminology changed when it's Biggie and Tupac, because we start saying the things that people would say that cause beef in the environment. When before that, they called it battle. Because that's what it is until it turns into some street. So when you're not competing for those things anymore, you start looking and you go, so what was the problem? You can't exactly remember what the problem was. That's what went through with Joe.
And if you thought Jay-Z's moves couldn't get any more questionable, get this. He recently tried to distance himself from Diddy. Yup, Jay actually had his lawyer come out publicly and claim that he and Diddy were never close friends. Like, really? Despite years of video footage, collaborations, and proof of their close ties, Jay is now acting like they were never tight.
He had a recital that he has to be at the group. But we reached out to him, and I told him that this right here was important. Bad Boy celebrating 20 years of hits. And this is extended family. You've been there with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother. It's B.I.G.'s brother.
I mean, Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. You go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case. And there's nothing more to say.
So, as you can see, this is way bigger than just Beanie Sigel. Jay-Z has a long track record of leaving people behind. Nearly everyone who helped him rise to the top has a story of feeling betrayed. But what's your take on all this? Do you think Beanie has a right to feel betrayed? Or is this just another case of business being business? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive. And before you go, check out this next video because the tea is still boiling.